Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where the weather has not improved. It is now snowing outside, so it's really quite terrible. But I am going to distract myself from the weather with a Fog of War Sudoku by GDC. This one is called Repitition Legitimizes. We've had this requested a few times in the last couple of days. I think it's quite a new puzzle. But apparently some people have struggled with it, and it's got dynamic fog. And this is the kind of fog of war puzzle where, let's say we deduced this digit. Normally in fog of war puzzles, that would clear the fog from those cells. So we'd learn things about these 9 cells. But in dynamic fog of war, it might clear that cell, or it might clear that cell, or it might clear those 4 cells. You just don't know. It leads to some fascinating puzzles, and yeah, this one's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty. And as I say, we've had it requested by a couple of people who haven't managed to solve it, but it is apparently rather brilliant. So, well, all GDC's puzzles are rather brilliant. So this is what I'm going to have a go at today in the video in a moment or two's time, and I will read you the rules. Now, what else do I have to tell you? Well, quick reminder. If you're a patron of the channel over on Patreon, please go and have a go at The Hobbit, which is Blob's fantastic 19 puzzle magnum opus. Here we go. You can see there the names of those puzzles. I think were we over we were over 2,000 people have solved the first puzzle so far, and I think about 400 have solved all of the puzzles. Absolutely phenomenal effort. You've still got until the 20th of January to get your entries in and be in with a chance of winning the prize, which is going to be to hopefully make a Sudoku video that might appear on the channel one day, perhaps with me. And then what else? Well, if you do enjoy Fog of War Sudokus, then we have a Fog of War app. It's become our most popular app that we've ever made. Our Sudoku apps are a bit different from the run-of-the-mill Sudoku apps. Well, they're different in a very important respect, which is that all of the puzzles in our apps are handmade. So they've been made by some of the world's greatest constructors with to have these wonderful solve paths, and you know it's yeah, they are just quality. Frankly, they really are quality. And this Fog of War Sudoku app is fantastic. So I definitely commend that to you. Do check it out. I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. And I've got a couple of birthdays to mention today. 𝗗𝗏𝗋, the constructor 𝗗𝗏𝗋, wanted me to say happy 87th birthday to Don Knuth. Don Knuth, I think, was the author of The Art of Computer Programming, which is one of those massive books. And I mean, Donald Knuth he's something like emeritus professor at Stanford, one of the sort of, you know, an absolutely great brain, basically, and apparently a really lovely geek as well, was how 𝗗𝗏𝗋 described Don. So happy birthday, Don. I don't know if you watch the channel. I hope you do. No, I definitely hope you do. I would be incredibly privileged if you did. Yeah, if any of you know Don, my happy birthday respects go out to him, and I hope he has a brilliant birthday today with a large slice of chocolate cake. And the other birthday, over in another part of the world, Australia, Chloe D. Chloe, your boyfriend, or Chloe D, I should say, Chloe D, your boyfriend Marco wrote to us and said that you're a big viewer of the channel and you enjoy it. So Chloe D, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a brilliant birthday. I have absolutely no doubt that your weather is rather warmer than mine at the moment, and I'm quite jealous about that. And that's all the birthdays. Let's have a look at Repitition. Why is it called Repitition Legitimizes? That is a really strange, you know, that's sort of almost something that would ring alarm bells in a cryptic crossword clue. Repitition Legitimizes. I have no idea. That's a very strange name for a puzzle. Anyway, these are the rules. We've got deconstruction today. So is this 11 by 11? Yes, it is. Okay. So we have to place 9 non-overlapping 3 by 3 boxes in the grid and fill each cell in a box with a digit from 1 to 9 such that digits don't repeat in rows, column or boxes. So this, let's stop there for a moment because this is tricky. So, you know, in a normal Sudoku, obviously we just have these 3 by 3 boxes and they're sort of lined up like this. But in this puzzle, we could have one here, we could have one there. I don't know if that's actually possible, but you know, we could have one here. They can be anywhere. And we've just got to make sure that once we've put them in and filled those boxes with the digits 1 to 9 once each, we haven't got repetitions in any row or column. Now, a cell that is not in any 3 by 3 box, and simple mathematics will tell us there are going to be 40 of those. 11 squared is 121, and 9 squared is 81, so 40. There should be 40 blank squares in this grid. A cell that is not in any 3 by 3 box should be left blank, okay? But its value for the purposes of the loop palindrome is 0. And we're going to come on to what that means in a moment. Then it says dynamic fog. The grid is covered in fog. Placing a correct digit in a cell lifts fog from that cell and possibly other cells, revealing new clues. Whisper loop. Draw a loop, it says and loop actually, draw a loop through the centres of some cells that moves orthogonally from cell to cell, so never diagonally. Okay, so we're not, let me go to my loop drawing abilities. So we're not doing looping like this, because obviously we could draw a loop that had a diagonal element, but we're not supposed to do that. We're having orthogonal movements, which means sort of north, south, east and west is how our loop is going to move. The loop may touch itself diagonally but not orthogonally. So what does that mean? That means the loop could do that. So the 2 cells it's occupied here are sort of diagonally adjacent. That's okay. What would not be okay is that, because these 2 cells here, this one and this one, have touched each other orthogonally, and that's 2 naughty words. Adjacent values along the loop differ by 5 or more. This is why it's called a whisper loop. So the loop obeys German whispers rules. So imagine this was part of the loop and this square here was a 1. I won't put a 1 in here in case it happens to be correct, but this digit would then have to be at least a 6. In order to be at least 5 different from 1. Now there's more rules. No, not many more rules actually. Circles. Circles are on the loop, so we're told that this cell is on the loop. And in 3 by 3 boxes, their digit counts the number of loop cells in their box. Okay. And palindromes, cells an equal distance to the circled centre of a line have the same value. Right, so somewhere in the fog there's going to be a line, and let's say the line is like that, and it'll have a circled centre, and what we're being told is that this square here and this square here would contain the same digit. This square here and this square here would contain the same digit. So obviously this couldn't be right because we'd repeat a digit in a row. But in principle, that's how a palindrome works. Palindromes are things like the word tenet. That film name is a palindrome because if you say it forwards, T-E-N-E-T, and say it backwards, it's still T-E-N-E-T. That's how palindrome lines are going to work. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Oh, hang on. There was an example. I did snip an example from Logic Masters Germany. But this example, it did strike me it might not be very helpful because it's much smaller, isn't it? It's 2 by 2 boxes. So I'm just trying to work out how the whisper rule works here. It looks a difference of at least 2, is it, or something? Maybe, I'm not sure. But I think that's how I would have. I'm just looking at this now. It looks like it works how I would have expected it to. That the grid has had to obviously contain 4 2 by 2 boxes. No digits repeat in a row or column. There's a palindrome in there. That seems to work. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. We can do this. Yeah, the way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I'm going to start off with a little bit of theory about deconstruction puzzles, which I might not need in this puzzle, but I'm going to tell you it anyway, because it is an important thing that if you ever do one of these 11 by 11 puzzles where you have to put the 3 by 3 boxes into the puzzle and you don't know where they go, it's a really, really good trick. And the trick is that if we take these 9 cells, let me make those yellow. These cells will definitely contain digits in the finished puzzle, i.e. each one of these is part of a 3 by 3 box. And the way to prove this is to use something called the pigeonhole principle. And the way that would work is as follows. We have to put 9 3 by 3 boxes in the grid, and I invite you to place a 3 by 3 box in the grid without overlapping one of these yellow cells. And you will find if you try and do it, you can't do it. It's impossible to place a 3 by 3 box in the puzzle without overlapping one of these yellow cells. And yet, if you were to try and get that 3 by 3 box to overlap a second 3 by 3 box, you won't, a second yellow cell, I should say, if you were to try and make that 3 by 3 box overlap with another yellow cell, you can't do it, because, for example, if you try and do it there, you can't quite reach one of these other ones. So, given that we have to put 9 3 by 3 boxes in, and we can't not include a yellow cell whenever we put one in, and we can only include exactly one whenever we put one in, it's sort of QED. These will have to be included in the finished grid. Now, the reason I said also that we might not need that here is look at this cell. The instructions told us that a circle is on the loop and in a 3 by 3 box. So there is a 3 by 3 box in this puzzle that starts in the top left corner. So that is part of the puzzle. So I need no excuses to do this. I'm going to delineate it like this. And we're told it's on the loop, aren't we? So let's go to loop drawing. If you're wondering about how to draw a loop, by the way, this wonderful software created by the programmer Sven, what it allows you to do, if you click the cog icon, make sure you have your pen tool enabled. I always have my pen tool enabled, and that is the mechanism that will allow you to sort of drag lines through the grid. Now it's an orthogonal loop, isn't it? I'm going to make the loop green because it's a German whispers line, and German whispers are normally green. So it's got to do that. And here's another point. The loop does not touch itself orthogonally, so it doesn't go down there, because these two cells are then orthogonally touching, and we can't close the loop. Actually, I say we can't close the loop. Well, no, the loop would orthogonally connect to itself there. Someday somebody's going to do a puzzle where the solution is that, and everyone will expect a big loop in the grid, and it'll just be a tiny loop. But no, I don't. Yeah, I genuinely think that's an impossibility. Oh, my watch thing is buzzing at me. Yeah, those two squares, the loop's definitely got too close to itself there, hasn't it? So this is off limits. The loop's got to go there. It's got to go there. Right. Okay. So this digit in the corner, isn't this meant to count the number of loop cells in the box? So this actually this is really constrained straight away, which is a good thing in a fog of war puzzle, because this is at least a 5. Yeah, in fact, I'm just going to go back I'm just slightly troubled by whether that could have been the loop, but I've figured out a reason it's definitely not. If that was a 4, these would both be 9. That's the only digit that's and obviously a tiny loop would require this corner cell to be a 4. So I'm now even more comfortable it can't look like that. So so I think we're in this world. This is now at least a 5. It can't be a 5, because if it's a 5, what would these digits be? They'd have to be 0. Oh, hang on. No. Okay, I remembered the instructions said something about a value of 0. That's okay. You can have a value of 0. Oh, right. Now this is potentially important. Right, the instructions say that if the loop visits a cell that's not in a box, then that cell, for the purposes of the loop, has a value of 0. Now that means that we're going to have to be uber careful, because normally I would say, in fact, maybe it's still true. No, it's not true. Oh my goodness me, I've just had a horrible thought. Normally, you can't put 5 on a German whispers line, because then think about what the next digit would be. It would if you try and go to find a digit, a Sudoku digit that's 5 away from 5, and you go upwards, you get to 10. That's not a Sudoku digit. If you go downwards, you get to 0, and that is not a Sudoku digit. But in this puzzle, it is a possible digit. And I've just had this thought, which is horrific. What if you did that, and you made this square a 5? And these were both, these were both not in 3x3 boxes. That is in theory possible, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure about whether that's possible, but at first blush it might be possible, and therefore we have to. What I mustn't do is, once I conclude that, like this digit, this can't be 5 because you can't put 0 into a box. So that is at least 6, because it's counting how many cells are in this box. Yeah, and it is totally fine now to say that. Yeah, it is totally fine to say that this can't be on the loop, because once we worked out that the loop couldn't go here because then it would close, if this was on the loop, you can see the loop's definitely touched itself in those 2 squares, or these 2 squares. So I'm quite comfortable that that's a false thing. Now what that's going to actually allow me to do is knock 9 out of that square. Now I can also knock 6 out of this square, because 6 only has one possible Sudoku digit that's 5 away from it, and that's 1. So if I put 6 in the corner, I'd have to put 2 1s next to it, and that will break Sudoku. So this is 7 or 8. Now I'm just pausing over whether 8 is possible, because if it's 8, isn't it going to just be a loop again? That's the only way you can do it. What you can't do is sort of this type thing, because again the loop's touched itself here. So if it is 8, it is a loop. Oh goodness! And now if it's a loop, then this middle digit would be a 5. No, you can't do it, because again you'd have to put 6 on the loop somewhere, and wherever you put 6, it has 2 neighbours on the loop, and they'd have to be double 1. Okay, so what that means is, let's go back here. That corner digit is a 7. It can't be 8, because I can't put 8 loop cells in this box. So I think we've got our first digit, and we've got another circle. Now this circle we know is yellow, therefore the 3x3 box it's a part of must extend this way. Now it must also take those squares, therefore it might take these, it might take these. Either of those options will be possible, or I think are possible. Okay, so now we can, this is a 1-2 pair. next to a 7 on a German whispers line. These are the only two options. And these two digits will be the opposite polarity, by which I mean they will both be above 5. Now, could they be 6? I bet they can't, but let's put 6 in and just try and be careful about this. Neither of these can be 5, because 5 in either of these cells wouldn't be 5 away from the 1 or the 2 in these cells. Oh, golly gosh, I don't know. How do we do this? We know, I know the polarity of, this is a loop cell. Yeah, this might be interesting. That's definitely a loop cell, because that's what the instructions say. And as the loop moves orthogonally from cell to cell, it will preserve its polarity along the same bishop's colour. What do I mean by that? I mean that every cell on the loop that is on the bishop's colour consistent with these 3 squares will have high polarity, because to get to it we will have to take an even number of steps, which could be a very large even number of steps, but you can never get from here to here with an odd number of steps along the loop, whatever route you take. And therefore, and you can just play around with that yourself if you don't believe me, it really is true. And therefore, because this digit will be, well, I'm going to say at least, I'm just worried about 5 again. If that's 5, no, the only way we're going to have a 5, the only way we're going to have a 5 on the loop is if it is the corner cell of a box. So say you had a box that was like this, and this was a 5, and both of these were grey, then you could have a 5. That would be possible, but only in that situation. And this does not have that feature, because it has one possible opportunity to get out without and effectively have a 0 next to it, but it doesn't have a second. Its second digit would be here, here, or here. None of those could be a 5 on the loop. Or none of those could be a 0, more precisely. So this can't be a 5. So this is just a big high old digit. Well, it can't be 9, can it? Again, it's the same as this one. We can't fill this whole box with loop and claim that the loop hasn't touched itself orthogonally. And if it's 8, aren't we going to just get a ring again? You're either going to get a ring or the loop will touch itself orthogonally. And we know that we don't have a ring because we've got to attach these two ends to something. So it's not 8, it's 6 or 7. Oh, I don't know what that means. If this goes downwards, don't we have to do that? That feels like that won't work, because won't this digit be too high? That might be wrong, but that's just my first thought there. So what I'm saying is that if the loop turns down here, it can't go down again, because this cell is definitely on the loop, and the loop will have touched itself then, which is not allowed. So the only way we go into this cell here is if we immediately go there. And the problem I'm seeing with that is that this digit is low by polarity because we're oscillating along the whisper loop. It can't be 1 or 2, so it's at least 3, and 3 is not at least 5 different from 6 or 7. So that is not right. And that means it goes there, which is a well, I was going to say it's ludicrous, but it's not, is it? Sorry, I was thinking this was going to be not in yellow, but what if it was in yellow? Then this couldn't be 6. That would have to be, oh, that could be 1 or 2, and that would connect to this. Oh golly gosh, right, okay. So I don't think I know. I'm staring at it trying to work out whether I know. I don't think I do. If this is not part of a yellow box, it has a value of 0. And then the loop couldn't go here because that would be 2 zeros in a row, and 0 and 0 are not 5 apart. So we'd have to go, oh, there's a motorbike sound. There's so it would have to go down into here. Hang on. Now, is it possible to say now? Yeah, that must be true. How is this on the loop? This particular cell. If this particular cell is on the loop, that is a corner of the loop, and the loop has touched itself in row 1, column 3, and row 2, column 3. So that's off the loop, but we've got 7 in box 1, so these are on the loop. Yeah, and it's the same principle, isn't it? I have to make that continuous. I can't go down here, because then this would be a corner of the loop, and again the loop would touch itself. So I've got to just take those with alacrity. And now what do I do? Well now, okay, now that is not 6, because that would cause double 1 into those squares. So this is 3 or 4. It's not 4, because 4 would only have 4 can only be next to 9, so both of those would be 9. So I think that's 3. Oh, did that? Yeah, that's a lighter shade of yellow now, so I think that means fog has been cleared behind this cell. This is 8 or 9. This is 6. That's great. That does tell me what this digit is. This is a brilliant puzzle. This has to be 6 because these are 8 and 9. And if this is 6 and this is yellow, both of these squares are 1, and that's not going to work for Sudoku reasons. So this is 6. Which has gone shaded. This is unshaded, not in a box. So we can now delineate what I'm going to refer to as box 2. It's in those squares. These squares are not part of a 3x3 box, so we need a colour for those, don't we? There's green. It's not lovely, is it, against the purple? Maybe purple, that's quite nice. Yellow and purple. I can see the green background against the purple, so I think we now have to dip in here, because otherwise we've got two zeros in a row. And now, okay, and now the loop can't go there, or it will close, and we won't have taken 6 or 7 loop cells in box 2. So the loop doesn't go there; it must go there. And now this cell can't be on the loop, so we must turn. Oh, I love this sort of thing. Now this must be part of a... Oh no, what I was about to say is not right, is it? Because that could be a 0. Bobbins. I was about to merrily fill in a 3x3 box there. Oh, bother. Oh, what about this square? That's part of a 3x3 box, so that must be. And so must this be. So we've sort of got a little bit of extra stuff as a result of pushing this box off the top row. Right, this square is 1 or 2. That's just digits that are 5 away from 6 or 7. That's effectively a 0. 6 or 7. 1 or 2. I've got to take 6 or 7 loop cells in this box, and this one is definitely off the loop. So if I don't know actually, those two squares there, they are a 4-5 pair, aren't they? Probably better get rid of the X's, because otherwise I can't really see them, but that's a 4-5 pair just to complete the panoply of 9 digits we need in box 1. This is weird. How am I meant to make any progress from here? This is one of the great things about Fog of War puzzles. I mean, there really are not many places here that we can look. I don't understand what to do. If we go... Okay, this might not be true as well. If I go here as my next move on the loop, no, that might be possible actually. I was going to say that I didn't think that was possible then for me to get up to a count of 6 loop cells. But I think there is one way of doing it. It clearly can't be something like this, because neither of these could be taken now without the loop touching itself. But it could perhaps be that. If both of these are zeros, now, is there any problem with that? That wouldn't surprise me. It's so GDC to do this. This is going to be a 5 with 2 zeros here, isn't it? 0 here, 0 here. So this is not in a region. This is not in a region. That takes all of these downwards. This would be... Ooh, what's that going to be? That's going to have to be 6 or 7 under this paradigm. Because it can't be 8 or 9. It has to be a high digit, so it's 6 or 7. It can't be 6 because it would have 2 neighbours. So this would be a 7. This would be a 1-2 pair. This would be a 6. This would be a 1. That would be a 2. That would be a 1. And basically everything will get sorted out. And 2, this would be, what do we say that was going to be? That was going to be the 7, 6. And then that will be 8 or 9. And the thing is, that could be 8 or 9 actually, but that would be 6. Okay, so I can't disprove that, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, I thought maybe I could, but I can't. So it is absolutely possible. Well, okay, but the only way it comes down to here is if this is a 6. That's the only way that the loop comes into whatever that is, row 3, column 5. If the loop didn't go into row 3, column 5, could we still get to a count of 7 here? It would have to be, well, it would have to be those squares and the loop would close. Is that possible? I think it is. I mean, I think it's incredibly unlikely that that's the solution, but I think it might be possible. This would have to be 6. This would have to be 7, I think, between a 1-2 pair. This would be an 8-9 pair, and the loop would close. This, oh no, hang on, that would be 7. Ah, no, that doesn't work. Golly gosh, this is difficult actually, but I think I've spotted a reason. Right, I might be able to prove that this is a 6. I'm not sure, but let's just try this now for size. So I've spotted a way that there's no way that this is a 7 and we go into this square. That is, I'm absolutely convinced that's impossible. And the reason for that is, of course, this can't be on the loop now. So we have to fill every other cell in this box with loop, and we're going to touch ourselves. That's naughty. So we're not going to do that. So in order for this to be 7, the only way it can be 7 is exactly that pattern. And the loop's touched itself here, so it must close. Now, the problem with this, though, is where do you put 6 in box 2? Because remember polarity, that's teaching us those squares. Oh, actually, no, maybe I can do it. I've just spotted, no, it might work if it's here. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to disprove it. Bobbins. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? So I might, because now there are 7 cells on the loop, this has to be a 7. And therefore we can't put 6 in either of these squares because they would cause double 1. We have to put 6 here. So this would be a 1. This would be a 2. It feels like that shouldn't work, but it's such a strange setup from a German whispers perspective that maybe it can work. Oh, goodness me. Wow. I mean, it's so ridiculous. If this is true, it's ridiculous. See, it might not work for some reason I'm not spotting. So this would be a 6 in this paradigm. That would be a 1. This would have to be off the loop. I mean, it's on the loop. Sorry, it would have to be out, not in yellow, is what I mean to say. And I don't know how to disprove that. I'm not convinced I can. So, oh dear. The loop can't go up there. This is how desperate I've got. Is there some loop quality that you don't have to make all the circles different or something, do you? I didn't see that rule. I don't remember reading it. We haven't got any palindromes, have we? I don't think we do. Okay, so we're just going to have to stare at this and try and come up with something better. No, I don't know. I've not got this yet. I definitely have not got this yet. The thing is, one of I suppose the problems with dynamic fog is it doesn't afford you the opportunity you would have with a normal Sudoku of sort of worrying away at other parts of the grid. I.e., if I can't find the next step now, I'm just dead. Even if there might have been some way, if I could see slightly more of the puzzle, there might have been a way of me sort of backing into a deduction that would be useful. If I don't know. No, I don't know. How do we make this a 7? Because, I mean, if this is 7, am I convinced? If this is 7, it's definitely that shape, and the loop, you know, there's nothing about the loop having to visit every box or something, because then I could definitely say, no, this is impossible. If that's 7, that's 2. I have to put 6 on the loop. 6, I can't see where 6 would go other than here. If that's 6, that's 1, and this is 2. But if this is 6, this is 1, the 1 and the 2 would go the other way round over here. And then what are the options then for how this 6 gets fulfilled? We worked out a way it could go there. If this was a high digit and these were both zeros. The loop would then touch itself diagonally, but we know that's okay. Maybe there's a reason the loop can't go here. If it goes there, that's a high digit, which would be... No, it can definitely go there. That's absolutely fine. And this has a value of 0. Let's just put a little 0 into it so that we can... No, I haven't got this. How long have I been? 40 minutes? What? I've got nowhere. I've got absolutely nowhere. Oh no. Okay, the loop cannot go there into this square because it would have touched itself. So its next step from this position is either to dip into this box, which would be for a high digit, so this would be high, or to dip down here, in which case one of these at least would have to be a yellow cell, because we couldn't have two consecutive zeros. Golly gosh, I don't know. 8 or... No, I really am a bit nonplussed by this. What do I think is the most likely thing? I mean, would it even help? I think it might be possible. I don't know how, but it might be possible to rule that out. That would force this pattern. And I just feel there must be some reason that is really difficult. This would be 6 or 7. It would have to be 7. This would be 6. That would be 1. That would be 2. This would be 8 or 9, I think. And this would be, oh, this would be 5. Because, no, it could be 8 or 9. No, it could be 8 or 9. It just has to be high. If both of these are 0, that would work. And that would be 6, and it would be the correct count. And this would have to leave the box. I really cannot see what's wrong with that. Is there another thing that slightly worries me? Is I could have found, no, it can't be right. Sometimes I do wonder whether I've possibly found a lacuna in the logic of the puzzle. I'm sure that's not what's happened here. Could it be anything else? Oh, hang on. I know what it could be. That's a 6, so that's a 1. Oh no. Oh, it hasn't. Wait. It hasn't done anything. Sorry, you've been shouting at me. There's a 6 on the whisper. It can only be next to a 1 within its box, but it hasn't helped at all. Oh no. But hang on. Oh, wait a moment. It has cleared fog, just not in a useful way. But now if that does a ring around the rosy, is that a problem anymore? 7. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is better. I think... Well, I'm not actually sure. What I think it might be possible to do now is to argue that this... Yeah, I think I might be able to say this is a 6. I'm not certain. If it's a 7, here is my argument. If it's a 7, the next step of the loop is not here, because you can't take 7 cells, because this won't be on the loop. That would force this exact pattern, and that's the loop's touched itself. So the only way this is a 7 is if it doesn't go into this square. So it does a ring around the rosy, and it's going to close the loop here. But that don't I run into the problem that I was thinking about before, which is where is 6 on the loop? This is a 7 now. So the 6 in box 2, I'm going to call it, is in one of those squares, but it can't be here because it would have a 1 beneath it as well. 6 is monogamous. So it would have to be here, but well, it can't be anywhere because it will have a 1 next to it in yellow that's not this one. So that is good. Well, is it good? Do I actually get a digit from that? I thought I might be. I think I might be able to say that this is a 6 then. I think that's forced, but it's not, the thing is it's not going to tell me. Well that's good. Or is it? Yes. Yeah, this is good because now I don't think I can do that rinky-dink thing I discovered. So this is in yellow, so all of those are in yellow. Don't know if it goes that way or that way. But let's go back to where I was thinking about this being a 5, or if effectively that pattern going on. Oh no, that might work now. I don't know. Hang on. So, if I go down now, the only way, now this isn't on the loop, the only way I get to a count of 6 is like that and like that. Now surely we can surely there must be a reason this doesn't work now. What's the polarity? Let's actually just back up a second. What's the polarity of this circle? It's on a different bishop's colour to the 6, so this is low polarity. So this is 1, 2, 3, or 4. Can it really be a 1? I don't think it could be a 1. 1 doesn't seem very likely to me. It's the loop goes into this square. Oh no, maybe it could be a 1 if it just if there's a yellow thing here and it just goes and clips into it, maybe it can be a 1. Oh golly. So how do I do this then? I don't know. What on earth am I meant to do next? I bet there's some way I either know this is yellow or not on the loop. I just wish I could see it. Oh, goodness me, I don't know. Could this... You see, this could be sort of tram lines running through this. I mean, what I'm thinking is, could it be just that type pattern? These would be the 3 high digits. 7, 8, 9. Oh no, I see that doesn't work because the tram lines would... Oh, okay. Hang on then. Oh, that's interesting. So, in terms of how we're going to reach this count of 6, so how many of these cells in box 2 are on the loop? It's actually not possible that both of these are on the loop, is it? Because if you think about it, if both of these are on the loop, that's on the loop, and this cell is touching loop then. So a maximum, oh whoopsie, a maximum of one of these 2 squares is on the loop. And in fact, it must be exactly one of those 2 squares is on the loop. Because if neither of these was on the loop, you couldn't fill the remaining. You know, if that was out and that was out, you can't draw a loop through these 6 cells. It's impossible without the loop touching itself. So exactly one of these is on the loop, and then we're missing one more cell from box 2. But we've already, I think, established that I think this cell definitely could be on the loop. If that was on the loop but this wasn't, is that a problem? Very much not, I think. Very much not. So, if we now... oh dear, I don't know. This is very tricky, I think. Is there a reason we can't... oh, my phone is going nuts. Hang on, I just need to read this one. Okay, that's about snow. That's I can't really deal with it, so I can't do that. Let me think again. Let's go back to considering the staircase going down here. Is there now a reason we could dispute this as being possible? This would have to be a high digit. That would have to be a 7 now. It's the only thing it could be. So this would go 7, 2. This would be 8 or 9 or 5. Oh, no, it's not 5 because this is now a digit, isn't it? So this is... oh, it's not going to be something like Sudoku, is it? Oh, goodness, that's a weird thought. Yeah, let's just think about that. So if it was exactly this pattern, where are the high digits going? We know this would be 7. We know this would be 8 or 9. We know this would be 8 or 9. We know this would have to be 2. That's forced. These would have to be 4 and 5 by Sudoku. And this would be a 3. And that's probably absolutely fine. This would have to go into one of those squares. This is mind-blowing. It's really difficult. I'm coming to the conclusion this is not an easy puzzle. I keep trying to find and discover things, and I'm absolutely failing. Okay, so let's think again. Maybe, I mean, would it really help me to know if this was yellow? If that was yellow, that would be a 3 by 3. And then there would be a 3 by 3 here. Is that in some way impossible? If we went straight down, I don't think there's any pressure on that. I really don't. And I know this is on the loop. I mean, that's the big advance we've made, isn't it? We know this is on the loop. And that allowed us to shade it in yellow, which means all of these are part of the same box. But I don't see how to do it. I suppose by Sudoku, maybe it's not Sudoku, is it? What's that digit by Sudoku? It's 3 or 7, 8, 9. No, it's not. I don't think this is how to do it. I think what we have to do there's going to be some way if we go... yeah, I think what I have to do is work out how the loop must move through box 2. So what I'm seeing here is, because this can't go left because it would be touching the loop, its next cell from here is going to touch this square. So it's either going to touch it from above or from here. Now, whatever it does there is quite important regarding how the loop's going to move through box 2, because if it does go down, then it has to go here next, but it can't ever take this square, which means it must take that square, doesn't it? The loop, in terms of how it's going to move through this box. And the only way that could work, given we must get to a count of 6 here, is going to be exactly that, and the loop again would close. Now, is there any problem with that, I hear you ask? I don't know is the answer. This one would be low, so this would be a 2 or a 4. It couldn't be a 4, that would have to be a 2. This would have to be a 3 or a 4. I mean, this might not even have to be in a region. So I don't know. I don't think there's a problem with that. If I do this, on the other hand, I have to do that. That is very clear. Then this is definitely not on the loop. And the loop's either doing this or that. One of those things is certainly true. This is high. It's 7, 8 or 9. This, I still don't know whether that's on the loop or not. Not on the loop, yellow or not. Wow, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to give up on this because I really, because I'm intrigued by it, and there must. Oh, hang on. Let's be careful that we don't rely on things that we don't deserve to. There must be a way of. Must be a simple way, or a simple-ish way. Have I not understood the rules? That's a possibility. Dynamic fog, whisper loop. I'm happy with that. And then the circles are doing double duty. There's no palindromes. I haven't found any palindromes. Let me just double click yellow, just in case there's something there I'm not seeing. No, I don't think there is. I don't think there is. Okay. So somehow or other, it is possible at this juncture to do something. I don't know what. If we go... I mean, what could it be? What could it be? I don't know. I just don't know. If this goes, I keep coming back to this because I think that's the most constraining move we can make. Because if we do this move to the middle of box 2, well then that has to be a high digit. That would have to be a 7, full stop, wouldn't it? So the next move that we make is going to be to a 2. And we can't come here because we could never get to a total of 6. So the next move would be to a 2 there. And the only way we get to a count of 6 is to go down. So this is, it's not 6 or 7, that's 8 or 9. This has to be on the loop and it's going down here. So this is 8 or 9. Going into a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4. This is going, this is a 3. This is exactly what we looked at. This becomes a 4-5 pair. I have a feeling this might be right, you know, because it's so prescriptive if we can do it. We can't go into this square anymore because it would touch this loop cell. So we're going to go here or here. Now if we went here, this couldn't be a 1. If we went here, this would have to be high and would be 7, 8 or 9. If we went here, this would be high and this would be 6, 8 or 9. What on earth am I missing? I'm desperately trying to do this for you. I don't know. I mean, okay, on the basis that looks right, there must be a reason we can disprove the opposite of that, which is, let's delete those. Whoa, delete the numbers in them. Going here for our next step, which takes this off the loop. And we know one of these, so the loop has to look like this. I didn't appreciate that before. Maybe that's got a problem. So now this is definitely 7, 8 or 9. This is definitely low. It can't be 4. That would have to be 2 again. So this is 7, 8 or 9. Now, what then can we say? I really want to know. I'm trying to see. Oh, maybe that's always... Oh, okay, it's not going to be that, is it? That's always 2. I bet it is. Oh, that's an outrage if that's right. Oh, goodness. Yeah, okay, I believe that. That's possible. Wow, I wonder if I put 2 in here, whether it would clear fog in some useful way. Yeah, so what I'm going to now claim, I mean, this is a very tricky point in my opinion, is that this square... So I'm going to claim 2 things about this cell. Firstly, it's on the loop. And let's see if we can deal with that. If it's not on the loop, we know one of these is not on the loop, so both of these would be on the loop and the loop would touch itself. So this is clearly on the loop. So from a digits perspective, it's 2 or 4. Now if it's 4, the loop would have to exit this box here. Because otherwise there would be 2 9s in this box. So if this is 4, it has to do this. This is, oh, and that can't be 9. In fact, look, because of, look, 8 and 9. So it's that simple. This is a 2. Oh my goodness, and look, that's done it. Wow, okay. So we aren't completely dead now, although that has proved I've took too long to do that, obviously. I'm so sorry. But I have at least now got something else. So now this is yellow. So that's yellow. This is yellow. Ooh. Right, those are not in the same 3x3. And the reason we know that is if they were, they'd have the same number in them, because these circles count the number of loop cells in their box, and that would obviously be the same if this was a box. So we don't know whether this goes here, but we do know it extends that way. And now I've finally proved this is not in a 3x3 box. So that's all purple. This must extend this way by exactly the same reasoning. I'd love to know if this was in one of them, and in which case which one. This is a complete column of the Sudoku. What's the what we should? Oh, this is low. That's 1, 3 or 4 by Bishop's colouring. What Bishop's colour is this one on? That one is high. I'm just going to double check that. Yeah, that's high. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not 6. It's 7, 8 or 9. So it must be 7, mustn't it? It can't be 8. 8 and 9 we've proved are impossible. Certainly now we can't have... Imagine this was a box and we put 8 in here, then it would create a small loop down here, which we know can't be correct because there's definitely loop in the top of the grid. So this is a 7, and that might clear fog. No. No. Okay, but how does that 7 work then? I don't know. 7 is quite difficult to achieve, isn't it? There's not much of this box. I mean, if it goes in the corner, there's not much of it that can't. It's going to be sort of a horseshoe shape or a vase shape, isn't it? Let me just show you what I mean. So let's say that this box is down here, and we have to put 7 loop cells in it, including this cell. My feeling is it would have to be that, whoopsie, or that, or possibly, yeah, possibly that. It's almost tricky, that. It's almost tricky because 6 is a problem there. Not sure. I spotted something else actually that's much easier than considering whatever this nonsense is doing. This can't be a 3x3 box now, because the corollary of that being a box would be that this is a box, which would put 2 circles in the same box. So I think all of those are now purple. Let's come back to this. Do we now know how this wanders through box 2? We know both of these cells are on the loop, don't we? So if it was this way and this way, oh goodness, I don't know. This is really confusing. I hope the next deduction isn't as difficult as this too, because that was very hard for me. Or what's the alternative? We worked out that 2 is on the loop for sure. So it could be something like that. And if it was that, it would. So if it was that, it would go there. Yeah, so actually, in order to achieve our 6 here, given one of these is on the loop, yeah, I think we might be able to do a bit better now, actually, especially now this is on the... Yeah, let's think about... I'm going to think about this coming down now. I feel like that's going to not work, because I then have to go there. I can't take this square, but I know this is on the loop, because one of these had to be. So I can't go there now, can I? That's not going to work. So I have to go there, because if I go here, the loop has to go in 2 directions from that cell, and that's impossible. The loop would touch itself. So I have to go there. So now the loop from this cell can't go down, or the loop's touched itself, so that becomes a corner of the loop. And we can't achieve a 6 in box 2. It's impossible. I mean, that's tricky, but it's true. So, and given how complicated that 2 was, I'm going to say that that clearly could be on the path. So we actually have to turn right here, and then we have to go straight down. And now this is not on the loop. And we have 2 options for how we traverse and get 6 into box 2. It's either that option or that option. It's one of those things. But in either case, this is on the loop, and it connects down through there. So the loop does that. And now this digit is high. Well, actually lots of digits are high. That's 7, 8 or 9. That's 7, 8 or 9. And that might be good, I'm not sure. And we know, okay, we know this is continuous, so we know that the loop doesn't go there, because the loop will close and this 7 will never be on the loop. So this is not in, that is not in terms of how the loop next moves. And the loop doesn't go into this square, or it's touched itself, so the loop goes there in whatever box this is. I suppose this is box 4, isn't it? That's going to be the correct nomenclature for whatever this ends up looking like, which is one of those two options. So, what do we learn from that? This can't be a 1, because now it's definitely taking... Oh, the same is true here. That can't be a 1. Yeah, because its next move is there or there, and that's in the same box as it. So this is 3 or 4. That's 2, 3 or 4. This is not 4, because that would have 9 above and below it. This... that could be 4, if it goes that way. It can't be 4 if it goes down, because it would be 9, 9. If that's 3, that is 4. That would be 8, 9. That would be 8, 9. I mean, this square is 7, 8 or 9. That is true. Oh, it feels like that might be helpful. I can't see quite how to do it though. Is it true? This might not be true. No, I'm not sure. I was wondering whether the loop cell that was up here would have to be a 7, but I don't think it does. I don't think it has to be. No, I don't think it does have to be. If that... It feels like there's more constraint if that's 3 and that's 4, doesn't it? I mean, that really does push the loop around a little bit. Oh, if that's 2, then I've got to get out of... Oh, that would be big. If this is a 2, you have to get out of this box from here. The next move couldn't be there because that's in the same box as this. It would have to go here. So if that's 2... But that square could be a 0, couldn't it? If that's not on the... If that's a purple cell. Oh, good grief. But then, and then the... Oh, then the loop would... No, okay. That's a problem, I think. So, alright, so what I'm saying is, if this is 2, you have to turn the loop to get it out of this box 4. This square now can't be a 0. It can't be purple, because if it's purple, we can't take a second purple. So the next move would be there, closing the loop, whereas this 7 has to have some loop attached to it. So the only way that this is a 2 is if this is yellow, but it's part of this box, so that box would look like that. And then you couldn't close it, so it would have to go down. Oh my goodness, so this would be a 2, 3 or a 4. That would be a high digit. This mustn't close, so this would go right. Oh, I don't know. That might be fine. The other option is this is 3, in which case I have no idea what this does. It could absolutely stay in its box, though. This is so unutterably complicated. It really is difficult, actually. Right. So I've got to take 3 or 4 loop cells in this box, wherever this box goes, but I don't know where it goes. I've got to... maybe this 7 is where I'm meant to look again. Oh, okay, that must be true. This is purple, isn't it? Sorry, I hadn't noticed that. Yeah, so we've sort of identified approximately. No, that could be yellow if that goes in. So we don't know about that, but we do know these two are both purple. So is that doing something? So if... Oh, actually, that's quite an interesting thought. Ah, yeah, okay. If we go yellow, if that's yellow, if this 7, or if this 7's box goes into the corner, this doesn't feel like it'll work to me now. Because how do I get out? It feels like there's a massive problem with... Wow. Or that can't be 6. Oh, it's really difficult. You might... Oh, actually, can you do it with a sort of vase shape rather than a... I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, let me just explore this, because I think this might be interesting. What I'm going to say is, how do we complete the 7 cells of this arrangement? And I think that there are many options. Well, no, I don't actually. I think there are 2 basic patterns. There's a horseshoe pattern, which could look something like this, but that could be obviously twisted round. But given this is a loop, we're not looking at this pattern, are we? That's going to strand a loop cell in the corner. So the 2 possible horseshoe patterns that would allow the loop to escape are this one. Well, that doesn't work because the next move is there, and then the next move after that is also into a 0. So that's impossible. But this one, you might say that's possible. I'm going to say no, that's not possible. And the reason this isn't possible is to do with the whisper. These 3 digits are all high by polarity, and the 6, you can see by Sudoku, has to be in one of those 2 squares. And that doesn't work, because they will have 1 as their partner on 2 sides. So I'm going to claim this is not a horseshoe pattern in this world. And that means it has to be the other pattern that we found that worked. We thought about it briefly up here. It's something like that pattern. And again, it's got to be something that allows us to escape, doesn't it? So in fact, it might have to be exactly that pattern. Because anything else is going to not have its edges going into the grid. So it would have to be that. Now this is different. This is a different beastie. Because now the polarity... Yeah, now this puts all 4 low digits on the loop here. So these would be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yeah, and where's 4? You can't put 4. You can't put 4 here because this has a value of 0 and they are not 5 apart. Good grief. Right. So what that means is that this doesn't go into the corner. Now, which means it definitely does go here. I don't know. I'm going to explore this now, whether this 3x3 box could go here. I don't... that's interesting, isn't it? I'm just trying to see whether I think that's possible or not. The answer is I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's easy to disprove that or to prove it. If... Oh, wow. Wow, that's an interesting question. Wow, as there is definitely stuff going on here, you know. I'm thinking of questions like, where is this digit now in this column? even could we do better than that? I don't know, actually. It's quite tricky. It's quite tricky. Let's think about this. So, the thing is, I think this might be okay. No, actually, I'm not sure. So again, we're looking at a situation where this is either going to be a sort of horseshoe or a vase, aren't we? Now that's impossible, because this box needs to have a 6 in it. And the 6 is going to be in that cell by polarity, and it's going to have double 1 on both sides. So that's not right. What about that? It's the same point, isn't it? We have to put 6 in the box, and it's going to be on the loop. And it's going to be broken because it's going to have to be double 1'd. So if we are in this world, we are looking at a vase again. But there might be another type of vase possible. Might be that vase. But no, that would have 2 zeros because we'd have to do that. So if we are looking at a vase, we're looking at this pattern again. And I've got the same problem with 6. Yeah, this doesn't work. There's no way that this goes into this column. You can't put 6 in the box. So this is all red, and now this is yellow, and now that is a region, this is a region, and we can start to delineate some of this. We can put that in and that in. Oh, nearly. Oh, this is it, right? I mean, this is so difficult, but it's really important because now we know this is a corner of the loop, and if it's a corner of the loop, we know we're not going into this square, but also the loop's doing this. That's right, because it can't take 2 consecutive zeros. The loop's doing this. And now I do want to think about this digit, because this digit has to find a home in column 3. It's not in those cells, it's not in these cells from our pencil marking. So this 2 or 3 is in one of those 2 squares, but it's low polarity. So it can't go there, it's got to go there, and it's next to a 7, and 3 and 7 are not 5 apart. So this is a 2. That's a 2. Don't believe it. It's not clearing fog. Oh, all right, but that's still good. That's still good, because now this is the last cell that the line can spend in this region, isn't it? So it's got to turn away, and this must not be in its region. So we get the position, the exact position of box 4 in the grid. So it looks like that. This is a box we can delineate. This digit is high and it's 8 or 9. This digit is low and it's 1. Because it can't be 2. This digit is high and it's 8 or 9. And and that means what? I haven't got a clue. It must mean something. I don't think it does. Did we work out whether this was... I think I did think about this, actually. Didn't I work out that if it did turn here... Yeah, this has to be yellow. That's big. This has to be yellow. Because if it's purple, we have to... Its next move can't be into a second purple. It would have 2 zeros consecutively on the loop. So it must go here, closing the loop in the top left corner, and isolating this loop as never part of the loop. So this is yellow. That fixes box 5's position. Boom. These have to be kept apart. So that doesn't go down. That doesn't go across. It doesn't go up. So it goes down. It then doesn't turn left or the loop would touch itself. This turns that way, and that now this is 4, simply by dint of the fact that I have got 4 cells in this box that are looped. So they must be surrounded by 9s. It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. It's quite vicious. This digit is, well, that's, I don't know, that's 6, 7, 8 or 9, isn't it? It's not 9, it's 6, 7 or 8. It's not 6 because it would have 1 above it, and that would clash. So it's 7 or 8, and this is 1, 2 or 3. 2 or 3 because it can't have a 1 above it by Sudoku. Can't be 4. So this is 2 or 3. This is 7 or 8. We then have to escape the box. So we're going down there, and we now know that that's a 0, don't we? We know that's a 0. We don't know about this. So we're either going into box, or I presume we do have to go into box 7 now, because otherwise I imagine this 7 is going to get very difficult. We're certainly not looking at a vase shape now, are we? We're not looking at that pattern, because we'd have to close and go 2 consecutive zeros. So what we are instead looking at, well, okay, we're not looking at that pattern, because that would close and this loop end is stranded on the left side of the grid where it can't ever meet a friend without crossing itself. So in fact we do know that the loop does this and then closes, otherwise it would touch itself and goes here. We don't know whether that's loop or not, but we do know that's not loop. And that means we get this digit is a 6. Oh no, I've broken it. I've broken the puzzle. Ah, no, I haven't. Oh, that's lucky. Right. I thought I'd broken it there, but I've just realised a possible, well, I think it must be a mistake I've made. I labelled this with 8 or 9. Well, couldn't that be a 6? And the answer is yes, Simon, it could be a 6, and indeed it has to be a 6. That can't be a 6 because it would be next to 2. But this would be next to 1 on its left, and providing this is off, this is purple, it would count as 0 and it would meet the condition. And the reason I was running myself into trouble is I was thinking this is a 6, but that would require this to be a 1, which won't work. So this is 8 or 9, this is 6, this is purple, so therefore those are purple, this is yellow. I mean, it's just bonkers, this. I think I might give this 5 stars, to be honest, in terms of, I'm an hour and a half, I'm nowhere near finishing it. And some of the thinking I've had to do, I mean, there was one point where I was daft, which was the 6 and the 1 up here. That was daft. But apart from that, and that 2 I was perhaps a bit slow on, but that getting that this 7 had to be here was horribly hard for me. Now what's this? This is 3. Because it can't. Oh my goodness me. Okay, that's interesting. So that's a palindrome that has a centre here. So that digit is the same as that digit. So that's a 7 or an 8 now. It's not a 9, is it? Because this can't be 9. So this is a 7-8 pair. This is ludicrous. So do we get any more than, oh, there's a 7-8 pair there, so that's a 9. So that's a 9, that's an 8, that's a 9, that's an 8. If we go to this digit now, that is high and is 7 or 8, and that would be a 7 or an 8 by palindrome logic. Yeah, I don't know quite how I'm meant to do this. I wonder whether what I could do, let's just get rid of some of the grid furniture, in case that helps me. We must go up there, mustn't we? Otherwise we've got 2 consecutive zeros. So I know this is a 0 and this is a high digit, which is 6, 7 or 8. and the loop can't go here or it touches itself, so the loop must then bend this way. So this is low and is not 2. So it's 1, 3 or 4. Can't be 4 because this would need to be 9. So this is 1 or 3. We know that the next move for this is not in its own box because this 4 is already fulfilled. Okay, I'm going to have to think about these digits, I think. Let's look at this square first. So 1, 3, 4 and 5 are the options for this by Sudoku. So 1, 3, 4, 5 is not 1. So it's 3, 4 or 5. Don't know how we're meant to determine that at all. No, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I feel ludicrously stupid. This is making me feel ludicrously stupid. Okay. So I don't know whether this is... Oh, I know that's got to extend now because... I don't know about this one, don't know about this one. And can we do any more thinking? If it goes here, I've got to get to a count of 6. I'm only on 5 at the moment. So the final cell is this one or this one. If it's this one, that is a 7 or an 8. If it's this one, it's... that can't be high. That's not highable anymore. It sees a 7-8 pair and a 6-9, so that's off the loop. Good grief. So that is how the loop closes, but that doesn't tell us what this digit is. It just says it's 7 or 8. That's a 7-8 pair. So these are 3, 4 and 5 by Sudoku, and that is a 3 by Sudoku, which on the pattern, so this is a 2, and that's a 3 by palindromic logic. And that's a 4 or a 5. That's quite interesting. That gives me a 4, 5 there. Right, let's just take stock. What is this loop doing? So the loop is going round here, down, round here, up here. We don't know where it goes. But in this box, we need one. This is 1s, 3s, 5s and 6s, isn't it? And there's no 3 in those squares. Yeah, that's about as useful as a chocolate teapot, I think. Is there some? I don't know. I don't know what we do. These are the same digit. So that's there. Those 3 are all the same digit. What are those digits? 4 and 5. Ah. So I know that digit, do I, by Sudoku? That's a 9 in this column. That's the only thing it can be. Will you clear the... Oh, goodness me. Oh, wait a second. Hang on. Well, this is not yellow, because that would make this yellow, and those on a palindrome, these would be the same digit. So that's definitely not yellow. That's... No. Oh, hang on. What? Yeah, if that's yellow, it's a digit, and that would imply this is a digit, which is not allowed to be. So that's not... That's also off the loop. So these 3 are on the loop. Oh, and they're the same as those. And that's a 1 or a 3. So this is a 1 or a 3, which apparently we don't know which. But actually we do, don't we? Yeah, because 3 in this box is in these squares, looking at this square. So that's a 1. So this is a 1 by the palindrome. It's not clearing fog, though. Is that actually correct? Let me just look at that. Yeah, it has cleared the fog from itself, so I think it is correct. It's just hard. So this... Oh, so 1 is placed in this box now. It has to be there. Now, our next trick is going to be... It's all very well, these palindrome thingies, but they're not really helping with with where the loop's going on its next journeys, are they? So these two digits are the same. Those two digits are the same. I mean, should we try column? I don't really like it. I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure where to look. That digit is 1, 6 or 7 by Sudoku, just in terms of all the digits it sees in row 3. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this digit is 5, 6 or 7. No, I don't think that's important. We know the loop stays in this box, don't we, for its next, it's either going there or there, so it must go to a high digit, which is a 6, 7, 8 or 9. I mean, I think that's true, but I don't think it's helpful. I don't. This is. Oh, I see. Right. This doesn't turn up because the loop would touch itself, so it must go here as its next port of call. I hadn't noticed that. So this digit, I was going to say it has to be yellow, but it doesn't, does it? In fact, it's probably not. If that's yellow, that's a region. This would be a 1 or a 3. Oh, it would actually be a 3, because it would be in a region with a 1, 6, 7 triple in row 3. So this would be a 3. I don't know, that might be fine. I'm not sure. I almost wonder whether I have to do something like colour these 4s and 5s using the palindrome, maybe. Those two are the same, so those 3 are the same. No, I don't think it does it. Or 7s and 8s by the same token, those are the same. That's the same. Again, don't think it works. Okay. So I wonder what the next step is. It can't be this palindrome down here, can it? I mean, I can see that. Oh, maybe. Actually, I'm going to pencil mark that square, because that square can't be 5 or 6, can it? I'm just thinking, if this was 5 or 6, it would, it would have a Sudoku effect on this box. It would rule 5 and 6 out of places they must go in. So these two squares are not 1, they're not 2 by Sudoku, they're not 3 for the reasons we just said. They could be 4 perhaps. They can't be 5 or 6. They're 4 or 7. Oh, come on, I must be able to do that. 4 or 7 is all they can be. Oh, I don't know. And it's not quite the same logic for these squares because they don't see that triple. So I think these are under much less interesting. They are. I mean, that one is really not important. That doesn't look like it's doing anything at all. These two, I can believe, are doing something. Okay. So I mean, what on earth is it? It must be that 6 is correct. This is a 0, isn't it? Let's put the 0 in there. That's a 0. Oh dear. That's not a good... I might have to pause actually because that's dinner. Oh, 9. Where's 9 in this row? It's there, isn't it? Oh, well, that's on the palindrome. Okay. So that got me an extra digit or two, but it's not a useful digit. Well, or is it? Yeah, it's a slightly useful digit. I have to be able to, whatever this region in the end looks like, it has to have a 9 in it. So if this region just goes up, it couldn't have a 9 in it by Sudoku, so it must go down. And in fact, there does have to be a 9 in this row, doesn't it? And that's now in one of those two squares by Sudoku, of all things. So perhaps we are getting a bit closer to something as a result of that. Maybe. Come on, Simon. Come on. We just made a sensible deduction, and then we've gone back to the drawing board again. What is it? Is it something like, where are all the 9s in the grid? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there must be a 9 in this one's region, mustn't there? That's interesting. Yeah, so if this one was capped at the top, it would occupy some portion of these squares, but it couldn't have a 9 in it by Sudoku, so this must go up. So this digit is from 3, 7, 8, 9. It's not 9, so that's from 3, 7, and 8. It's not. It's because there's a 1, 6, 7 triple in this box, in this row somewhere, so it's not 7. So that's 3 or 8 now. And if you're going to say to me, well, that's totally useless, Simon, that would be a rotten thing to say, but it would be quite correct as well. It would be, wouldn't it? Okay. So we've got to do something else again. Maybe I could pencil mark this column. Yeah, where's 1 in this column? It's got to be there. Oh, thank goodness. You put things in and it's like a pregnant pause where you think, oh my goodness, am I getting nothing? But actually, I got something that time. So this is yellow, obviously. It's not part of this one, because we've worked out that one had to go up. So those have got to be all part of a region. Now, the polarity suggests this digit is high. So it is 6, 7, or 8, unless it can be 5, which I can't rule out, because that could be a quantum for loop. Oh, good grief. Oh, well, this square is now not on the loop, is it? So that's not on the loop. So the next cell this goes into is either here or here. But that, oh, hang on, no, that is on the loop. That's how it works, isn't it? This is on the loop, so we can't turn away from it, because then we'll hit ourselves when we come back here. So that is on the loop. That does actually increase the possibility that this is a 5. It can't go down. Yeah, it's interesting. If it does go here, then it can never go into box 3. There couldn't be any loop in box 3. Hang on, what's going on here? What is going on here? If it does go there, that digit has to be a 3, because it can't be in it. That's the only thing it could be. Oh, well, that would make this an 8. That's impossible. Oh my goodness. I might... Hang on. No, it's fine, it's fine. I was thinking I might be able to conclude this is a 5, but I think there are loads of options. But I think I have concluded it doesn't go here. Because to go there, this is a low digit, and by Sudoku of all things, this would be a 3. And if it's a 3, that makes this an 8, and we can't put 8 loop cells into any one box without making a loop in the box, which we know we don't do. So this is not on the path, so that goes up. Now we have a different problem, which is that this loop end has to get to this loop end somehow without going through this square. So we have to come down there. So that means I know what this square is in theory. That's a high digit, and it is 6, 7, or 8. Oh. That's bonkers. It's bonkers, right? Look at whatever row this is, row 5. I have a 6, 7, 8 triple, and that is a 5. And if that's a 5, it must see 0 both sides of it. So that is purple. And now this is all purple. The yellow thing at the top moves up to the top of the grid. This yellow is nested. It's there. That's exactly what it must look like. Oh, this is magnificent. I thought of the possibility of this way back at the start, and it has actually materialized. Now, this is... Well, okay, so I said that wasn't a 3. Let's be more precise. It actually is a 3. It's just not a 3 on the loop. Right, so now... Has that helped us? Well, yeah, all of this is purple. We can't go double purple in a row, so we must venture up here for our next move. So this is high polarity. This is a 6 or a 7. The same is true there. That's clever. Oh, I see. Yeah, because we've gone into a 0 here. Yeah, this is brilliant. Because we've gone into a 0, can't go into a second 0, so we have to go into a yellow cell, and that positions box 3 right in the corner. And that's box 3 in the corner. That's box 3 in the spotlight. Loser gets religion. The machine will not understand why we're singing for that. There won't be confetti, but I think it deserves a song. So now this is high polarity, and that's 6 or 7, same as this one. So in this row, 1 is here. And I can nearly... Oh, no. No. I was wondering whether I could position this box by dint of thinking about where 1 went into it, but I can't. There is a 1 in one of those 2 cells, but I don't know whether it's this one or this one. I don't think I do anyway. Now, what on earth is going on in this row? We need 3, 7, 8, and 9 into those squares. 3, 7, 8, 9. And the 9 is definitely in this domino. So this is some congregation of 2, 4, 5, and whatever we don't use here. Or that digit. No, it depends what that digit is actually. But yeah, there's some sort of 3, 7, 8-age. 6 and 7. Well, hang on, if that's 6 and 7, that is 3, 8, 9. No, I think that's wrong. No, that is 6 and 7, which it is. 7 in this row is there. That's really helpful. That was correct. So that's 8. That's 7. That's on the palindrome, so that's 7. So now these squares are a 6, 8 pair. This is no longer 7. Come on. Do something. Oh, this 7 is fixing this digit. That's a 4. So that's a 4. Whoa. This is not 7 anymore. So we need, oh, that's not 7 either. We might as well take full advantage. 3, 5, 6 and 8 into this square, and I don't apparently know which. This 4 means this is 5. That's going to be useful because that gets me another palindrome digit. So the 5s and the 4s are getting unwound. Yeah, the 4s and the 5s are really getting unwound. It's not, at least at first blush for me, it doesn't seem to be revealing more fog. These squares are 2, 4, 5 by Sudoku, and that's not 4, and that's not 5. Wow. So, oh, okay. How does the loop close up here? Well, this is 6 or 7. That can only be next to 1 or 2 within its own box, and 2 is too high. So it must go to 1 in both cases. So the loop just closes across there. And it can't go to a 4 from a 1, so it goes downwards into a high digit, which is 6, 7 or 8. We've also got to be careful of this 5, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to take another digit. I don't know if that has to be that one. But the loop does need... Oh, the loop, could the loop snatch a digit like that, maybe? I'm not sure. But that might be something we have to bear in mind and consider at some point. 3, 5, 6. 8 is in one of these squares. 4. Ah, nearly. I don't know. I'm not sure how to just... Maybe I should... 5, 6, 7, 8. No, where's 2 in this row? So 2 is definitely in one of those 2 squares. So if this... Well, it's probably what I have to do, isn't it? I'm probably going to have to consider how the loop moves through this box, I think. So there's only 2 possibilities. Either this drops down here, or it turns there. Now, if it turns there, it has to turn into a 2. Just by polarity along the loop. But if it does drop down there, I haven't got 5 cells in this box, and I can't, so I would have to just snatch this cell and then get the hell out of Dodge like that. And then this would be, what polarity would this be? High polarity. So this would be 6, 7 or 8. And we couldn't then, the loop couldn't touch itself there. So we're going off on a merry old excursion. Oh, I've just noticed something else I've not thought about as well. That's potentially relevant. Let's just, before we go off and analyse this, I've noticed this 4 is preventing the loop from going upwards. So the loop does go into this square, which we hadn't known about, or I hadn't known about before. So that's 6, 7 or 8. Well, we know it's not 8 because the 8 in this column is down in one of those 2 squares, so it's not 8, so it's 6 or 7 now. But hang on. Is that difficult or not? Golly, it might not be. I was thinking about whether we could do this sort of weird movement of the loop. It's really difficult to disprove. If that's wrong, it's difficult to disprove. We'd have to get the loop into... Well, it couldn't go to that square now, or this square. Oh, no, it can't. Ah, no, it is easy to disprove. Right. I see how to do it. Okay, so we now know, just as a matter of loop principles, that this square is off the loop and this square is off the loop. So if we don't take that square and we have to nip this square from box 6, we have to do that. It's the only way it will work. And now how on earth do we get this to here without going through there and making the loop touch itself? You can't do it. So in fact, that is not on the loop, which means this is on the loop. And the loop does that and then gets out of dodge. And this is a low digit, and the only low digit it can be is 2. That's 5. Oh! Now, this has to be yellow, because if it was purple, it would be 0, and 0 and 2 are not 5 apart. So that fixes, we finally, after 2 hours all but, I've finished working out how this sort of works in terms of where the yellow boxes are. We have positioned all the yellow boxes. This square is no longer a 3. I don't know how long that's been available for. These are 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's not 9. That's not 8 or 9. And that could be anything apparently. The loop can't touch itself, and it can't go into a 6 or a 7 from a 6, 7, or 8. So the loop goes there. So this digit is low, and it's 1, 2, or 3. And apparently all of those are absolutely fine. Okay. Here's the little point though. 5 in this row is placed. It's got to be there. So this is a 3, 6 pair. That fixes 6 up here and 8 into this square. And that's been an 8 for ages. Don't know how long that's been sitting there, but I've only just seen it. 6, 7 pair in this column makes this an 8. So this is a 6 or a 7. Oh, I see. I've got like... Oh, 6 can't be next to 2 on the loop. So the 7 and the 6 get resolved by dint of loop magic. And that might mean something. This can't be 6 anymore because it's next to 2 on the loop. So this is 7 or 8. Come on. We must be close to finishing it now. I don't know though. I'm not sure. 4 has to find a home in box 9. It's there. So that fixes 4 and 2 at the top. 3, 5, 9. Yeah, 5 in the final column goes there. This is a 3 or a 9. This 5 fixes this square as a 6. I don't believe it. This is so it's still so complicated. 6, 3, that becomes a 5 to finish this column. This is a 7 by Sudoku. I need 2 and 3 into this box. Yeah, 3 goes there, 2 goes there. This is not 3. This row, that's a 7 in it. I've not put 1 into the row, so that's 1, that's 2. Okay, so this is 3 or 8, and it is 3. That's 8, so that's 9, that's 3. That's 9, no 3's in the corner. So we're done by Sudoku. We're done by Sudoku. Oh! Oh, so it knows somehow. I think that means we must have got it right. Because somehow, I think what it's done there is it's uncovered all the fog. Sort of confirming, if you like, that the digits we've put in the puzzle are correct. But I haven't finished the loop. I haven't. I'm here. Oh, well, from the 2, I can't go to a 6. So I've got to go to a 9. And then I've got to go to... Where am I now? I've got to connect the 7 and... Oh, the 7. I've got to go to a 2. I can't go to a 3. And then the 2 goes to the 9. And it is done. Good grief, what a puzzle that is. That is as much trouble as I've had with a puzzle on the channel in a long time. I got so stuck on that so many times. I think I've got a loop that works. Let me just check. Yeah. I mean, this bit of it is an absolute... I mean, that is just genius setting, isn't it? Yeah, it's right, I think. Let's see. Yes. 75. Oh, God, it's really new as well. It's a very long video for a Friday night. It really is. I'm so sorry. But I hope you enjoyed watching me battle with that. GDC, Your puzzles are just something else. That was so clever. I'm going to be intrigued from the comments. I suspect that there's many steps of this where I'm not sure I took the right approach. Did I have to do that and prove that that 7 didn't go into that corner, or was there an easy way around that? I'd love to know. That was fascinating. There was so many beautiful steps. This was a beautiful step, limiting those digits by reference to where that could all go in there. And the fact that that you had to sort of get out of this box, and you had to turn up from here. And the 6, 7, 8 triple. It's really brilliant. It's brilliant. Wow. I still don't understand the title. Repitition Legitimizes. No idea. Let me know how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back tomorrow with another, or later as well, with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.